everybody. Today we're going to have a look at how to improve a drum kit or drum loop using just 5 native Ableton plugins. So with this simple pattern I've put together here, with no effects, and then this is how we're going to get it to sound. More punch, more drive, more movement, and more interest overall. Let's see how I got it. First thing to do is to add in a blank audio effect rack, and we're just going to hide the chain section and also the macro section. We don't need to see those right now. First effect I want to use is an EQ, an EQ8 to be specific. This one over the EQ3, just because you can see a lot more of what's going on, especially as you open this part up. Now, a technique I'm going to use here is subtractive EQing. So I'm actually going to remove frequencies that I think sound a bit rough or too loud, just ruin the mix a little bit too much. And this is my technique. I'm going to switch off all of the different frequency areas for now, starting just with number 7. And to be honest, this is just my personal preference way of doing it. You don't have to do it like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one's Q, the width of the frequency range, up to 5 and the gain up to max, so that as we play the region, it's accentuated this bit. Now, starting in the low areas, I want to find stuff that sticks out and sounds nasty and that we want to get rid of, basically. Let's have a listen. So it's quite boomy here. Right, so what I'm going to do is drop that down to -4 dB. Okay, next one. Same principle. Q to 5. Frequency, we're coming down here, and we're going to move that manually in a minute. Gain all the way up. So moving on from the 7, what did we, let's hear. Quite a boomy little part of the kick drum there. Okay, let's get rid of it, or reduce it. -4 down. Next one. So once again, this up to Q up to 5. Gain all the way up, and slowly moving it across to find different frequencies that we want to diminish. Okay, so the snare has a bit of a ringing tone to it. Sticks out a little, so we're going to move that down. Let's do another one. So let's change this to that. Switch it on. 5. Gain all the way up. Now you can really take your time on this. I'm sweeping fairly quickly, just for tutorial purposes. Okay, so when the cowbell kicks in, it's just a little spiky there. So let's remove the harshness of that one. Going down, adjust the Q, all the way up. That really stands out. Okay, let's minus that one. -4. Let's have a listen so far as to what difference that's made. So without and with. Cleaned up the lower end really nicely. Okay, let's do a couple more now. Q to 5, getting right up. Let's start sweeping up here. Something there spiking a little that I don't like. Minus it down. Okay, last one. A lot of the time you won't need to use all of these, but seeing as we've got 8 to play with, let's get some of this sharp stuff. Maybe that, I think, is a little rough. It's -4 down. Now, the very last thing I'm going to do is enable this one, switch it to that, whoops, and drag it all the way back. And I'm just going to adjust the frequency manually. 35 kilohertz and below we want rid of there. So you can already hear that just by removing some of these frequencies, we've really tightened up the kit. This is before. And after. Definitely got a tighter bottom end to the sound, and there's much less noise from the spiky bits that we've reduced up the higher end as well. Okay, so let's add in the next effect. I'm going to add in a saturator, and there's nothing to this one because I'm going to use the preset A Bit Warmer. Drag it into the group. Let's hear that without and with. So you can really hear the extra oomph that that's given it. A bit of extra drive and some nice grittiness to the kick and the other elements of the kit. Alright, so let's take both of those effects off and now put them back on. So already, just with these two effects alone, a little bit of EQing and some saturation, we've already improved the loop no end. The next effect I'm going to use is the glue compressor. And this is really going to help, as the title suggests, glue the elements of the kit together and make it sound thicker and fuller. I'm going to keep the ratio at 4, decrease the release, and increase the attack so we get the punch. Increase the attack so that we get the punch of the kick. Now, taking the threshold down, we're looking for a gain reduction of about 4 decibels. Which we're then going to add in the makeup section. Alright, so let's take off the saturator and the EQ just so that we can hear the difference between the original loop and just by adding the compressor. And on. So the big transients of the loop, the kick and the snare, are really helped to stand out more using the glue compressor. Let's add all of these on now. So far, and before. What a difference. Alright, moving on. Let's minimize these down a bit so we've got a bit more space to see what's going on. I'm going to add in now a reverb. Obviously putting reverb on a drum kit is not ideal. You have to be very careful about how much you put on, and we're only going to use a fairly small amount. I'm going to turn off all of these aspects, all of this. We want it really simple. Decay time about 700 to 800 milliseconds. Actually want to enable the low pass because the only elements of the kits we want for the reverb to really have an effect on is the higher frequencies, otherwise it will just sound way too muddy. So the mix is too much, it's far too much reverb, so we're going to bring this all the way down, anything between about 8 and 12%. Gives it just a nice feel that there's a touch of space to the kit without ruining the punch of the lower ends. So now let's see what the difference is now. And with. Great, so it's really got some energy and life now. Okay, so for the final effect, we're going to duplicate the chain in the audio effect rack here. So I'll call the first one original and the second one chorus. So what I want to do, as I've duplicated it, is just remove the second instances of the effects from the original one. So they're still there in the original one. In the chorus one, we want to put in, first of all, an EQ3 and then a chorus. So actually this tutorial covers 6 plugins, not 5, so a bonus one here for you. All I'm going to do is take away the low output so that we're only going to be affecting the mids and the highs with this chorus. The one actually I want to use is a preset called Flaunch, what that means. So let's pop that one in there. Try the wet signal up to 100%. Feedback we're going to put all the way up to about 85. And let's solo this part. So we've got some nice movement just on the mids and the highs there. Let me take the mids out a little bit. We're going to drop how much this is going to blend, say about -5, and now let's add it to the rest. So if you listen very carefully, hopefully you're listening on headphones or on very good monitor speakers, we can hear the nice chorus just touching, just brushing the higher mids and highs. Without. Now listen to the colour in the highs. So there you go. 5, which turned into 6 really nice, simple, built-in effects, audio effects in Ableton that you can use to really increase the punch, the dynamics, and the overall sound quality of your drum loop. Thanks very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please subscribe. See you soon.